MD1 candidates will be around, those that can stay, and we'll have questions because we want everybody to be able to ask questions after we have the town forum with Senator Carter.
So, good morning. My first name is Jesse. My last name is Colvin. We're going to be here as long as you guys like. So let me just talk 5-7 minutes, tell you who I am, what the campaign's all about, the issues at the top of the ticket, and I want to make sure that the senator has all the time he needs. So by way of introduction, I am a fourth-generation Marylander. I'm a family of immigrants. My great-great-grandfather came to this country through the Port of Baltimore in 1899, and we've been here ever since. He worked in Maryland Steel. A generation later, we had a small business. My parents are these wonderful hippies who turned into wonderful, dedicated public servants. They met at University of Maryland Law School. They had a VW van together. My dad had a ponytail. And my dad has been in the public defender's office here in the state for 34 years. And my mom is a district court judge in Baltimore City. So a lot of the issues we're talking about, you just heard about, were absolutely things that I grew up listening about at the dinner table day in and day out. I think my parents had a law school picked out for me when I was born, and that all changed on September 11th. I was a senior in high school, and it drove me to, I had a burning curiosity to understand the attacks of 9/11 and the roots of the attacks in the Middle East. So I went to college, and I studied Arabic, and I studied the Middle East. If I give you a 30-minute version of this talk, I talk about all the heart attacks I've given my parents over the years. One of the first ones was going to Egypt for a semester abroad. And then I graduated and I went to Syria. That was a big heart attack. And I was teaching English to Iraqi refugees. This is 2006, so the war in Iraq is at its low point. We're losing. And my students hated our federal government. And they had every reason to, because they lost their homes and family members. But some of them had served as interpreters and translators for our soldiers and diplomats, the guys and gals on the ground. And they held those folks in really high esteem. And I decided this war was started for spurious reasons, and we're losing, but we're also committed. And Uncle Sam needs good men and women. So I came home and I joined the military. I joined the Army. And I was lucky enough to be an intelligence officer, and I was lucky enough to try out for the Army Rangers, which was a big deal to try out, and I passed. I'm still the Army, so I came in with Arabic and the Middle East background. So of course the first place they sent me was South Korea. I never thought that year would be as relevant as it is now. It is now 2018. And if all I'm talking about in 3 months is how do we avoid a reckless war of choice with North Korea, I will happily shoulder, as a military veteran, that mantle as a candidate. I did 4 deployments to Afghanistan, and if you have any questions about what it's like to be an Army Ranger in Afghanistan, I'd love to tell you afterwards. The biggest thing is leadership. There's really no substitute for having to be a 26-year-old on the ground trying to figure things out and get things done. I was able to use the GI Bill. I was able to get a master's at Columbia University, and I was at a veterans networking forum, and a woman from an investment bank walked up to me and said, "The bank is looking for guys like you." And if you saw my transcript and saw my grade in statistics, you would know when I told her, "You're really not looking for guys like me." But she said, "No, we're still dealing with the same behaviors that led to the housing crisis in 2008 and 2009. We're trying to clean up shop." And I said, "I want to understand how the private sector works, and what better place to go learn it than go right to the thick of the action." So I went and tried to help clean up shop in an investment bank in New York. Flash forward here a little bit. I met the woman of my dreams. We're married. My wife is not here today. She's 7 months pregnant. And at some point after the presidential election, I turned to my wife and I said, there was no lightning bolt moment, but I said, we have to get involved. She runs a nonprofit to prevent military veteran suicide. So she said, well, I'm doing pretty good work, you go figure it out. And I looked around the country, and I don't know if you know this, but there are about 30 military veterans running for Congress across the country right now. And there are also other folks running who come from similar service backgrounds. So AmeriCorps, Teach for America, Peace Corps, that should get folks really excited, because if you're If you're a military veteran in the audience, you'll get this implicitly. If you served in Iraq or in Afghanistan, if you were ideological or an obstructionist, or was your way or the highway, you got people killed, or you got fired, or both. And so that's the attitude that a lot of folks who are running from these backgrounds are bringing in. So that should give you some hope. They're on both sides of the aisle. They happen to be most on the left. But then I looked in our own backyards. We live in Baltimore County, and we saw Andy Harris, and he needs no introduction in this room. We really have every reason not to be running. We just got married, we got a baby on the way. I had a really rewarding job, but here we are. So that's who I am, what I'm all about. I just want to tell you a little bit of the issues at the top of the ticket, and then I'm absolutely not going to go over my time because the senator's here this time. Is very valuable. Healthcare, healthcare, healthcare. Jobs of the future, jobs of the future, jobs of the future, and the Chesapeake Bay. Anybody know how many people in this congressional district depend on the ACA in some form or fashion? 54,000. Just to remind you, the incumbent is trying to sweep away the ACA with a backup plan. I think healthcare is a right, plain and simple. We need to drive down costs. I bet you if I asked if anyone was happy with a deductible and premium and prescription drug costs, I don't think there'd be a person in the room that said they're happy with where they are right now. Jobs of the future. There's no reason Hartford or Cecil College couldn't have the world's best cybersecurity program or the state or country's best solar program. Imagine going to school for 2 years and you come out and you learn how to install solar panels or fix them or sell them. It is one of the fastest growing industries in the country. It's one of the fastest growing industries in the state. There's no reason we can't get there. It just takes a little bit of energy, a little bit of creativity, a little bit of political courage. Finally, the Chesapeake Bay. There are 535 people in Congress. With all due respect to our great senator from Maryland, I think the person in Congress of those 535, if you're talking the biggest defender of, supporter of, advocate for, champion for the Chesapeake Bay, I think it should be the representative from Maryland's 1st Congressional District. With all due respect to it. New York City has this plan right now. They want to get to 1 billion oysters by 2030. I think we're better than New York, so I want to get to 10 billion oysters. If you do that, think of the positive impacts. We'd have to figure out sediment of the Conowingo Dam. We'd have to figure out chicken litter on the Eastern Shore. We'd have to figure out how to scale up these oyster farms. We got to 10 billion. Think of how many tourism dollars will be coming in. Think about the quality of the water in the bay. I think a lot of folks probably looked at President Kennedy a little bit with an askance view when he said we're going to put a man on the moon in 10 years with no computers. 10 billion oysters is a lot of oysters, but there's no reason we can't go for it. So that's who I am. Thank you for having me. I'm going to be here.